Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We're continuing our reading of the Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita here at Govardhana Hill. If you came to the wrong ashram, please stay. It'll be worth your while. We're going to take up where we left off yesterday at chapter 13, the Lord's dancing at Ratha Yatra. And I think that we can start on text number 137. Do you concur?
Yes.
Thank you. Speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "For most people the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet there? I would deem that your full mercy." The mind's activities are thinking, feeling, and willing, by which the mind accepts materially favorable things and rejects the unfavorable. This is the consciousness of people in general. But when the mind does not accept and reject, but simply becomes fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, then one's mind becomes as good as Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is, there also are Srimati Radharani, the gopis, the cowherd boys, and all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan. Thus, as soon as one fixes Krishna in his mind becomes identical with Vrindavan. In other words, when one's mind is completely free from all material desires and is engaged only in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one always lives in Vrindavan and nowhere else. My dear Lord, kindly hear my true submission. My home is Vrindavan, and I wish your association there. But if I do not get it, then it will be very difficult for me to keep my life. Again, for context, this is at Kurukshetra. The conversation after over 100 years of separation, when everybody came for the eclipse, and now Srimati Radharani's speaking to Krishna about the impossibility of the same relationship in Dwarka, or amidst all the opulence there at Kurukshetra. Only when the mind is free from designations can one desire the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind must have some occupation. If a person is to be free of material things, his mind cannot be vacant. There must be subject matters for thinking, feeling, and willing. Unless one's mind is filled with thoughts of Krishna, feelings for Krishna, and a desire to serve Krishna, the mind will be filled with material activities. Those who have given up all material activities and have ceased thinking of them should always retain the ambition to think of Krishna. Without Krishna, one cannot live, just as a person cannot live without some enjoyment for his mind. Text 139. My dear Krishna, formerly, when you were staying in Mathura, you sent Uddhava to teach me speculative knowledge and mystic yoga. Now you yourself are speaking the same thing, but my mind doesn't accept it. There is no place in my mind for jnana yoga or dhyana yoga. Although you know me very well, you are still instructing me in jnana yoga and dhyana yoga. It is not right for you to do so. The process of mystic yoga, the speculative method for searching out the Supreme Absolute Truth, does not appeal to one who is always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. A devotee is not at all interested in speculative activities. Instead of cultivating speculative knowledge or practicing mystic yoga, a devotee should worship the Lord, let's worship the deity in the temple, and continuously engage in the Lord's service. I'll read that again. Instead of cultivating speculative knowledge or practicing mystic yoga, a devotee should worship the deity in the temple and continuously engage in the Lord's service. Temple deity worship is realized by the devotees to be the same as direct service to the Lord. The deity is known as the Archa Vigraha or Archa Avatara, an incarnation of the Supreme Lord in the form of a material manifestation, brass, stone, or wood. Ultimately, there is no difference between Krishna manifest in matter or Krishna manifest in spirit, because both are his energies. For Krishna, there is no distinction between matter and spirit. His manifestation in material form, therefore, is as good as his original form, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. A devotee constantly engaged in deity worship according to the rules and regulations laid down in the Shastras and given by the spiritual master realizes gradually that he is in direct contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus he loses all interest in so-called meditation, yoga practice, and mental speculation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I would like to withdraw my consciousness from you and engage it in material activities. But even though I try, I cannot do so. I am naturally inclined to you only. Your instructions for me to meditate on you are therefore simply ludicrous. In this way, you are killing me. It is not very good for you to think of me as a candidate for your instruction. Amrita, you got to move this. Otherwise, I got no object in life. You know where to put it?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Yikes. He's marking how many pages we have to do. I have to have something to shoot for. That's not a good metaphor to use these days. Okay. Where was I? 140?
Yeah.
Did I read the verse yet?
Yeah.
I did?
Yeah.
Did I read the purport?
Yeah.
Sri Rupa Goswami says in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma jnanavritam anakulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttamam. For a pure devotee, there is no scope for indulgence in mystic yoga practice or the cultivation of speculative philosophy. It is indeed impossible for a pure devotee to engage his mind in such unwanted activities. Even if a pure devotee wanted to, his mind would not allow him to do so. That is a characteristic of a pure devotee. He is transcendental to all fruitive activity, speculative philosophy, and mystic yoga meditation. The gopis therefore express themselves as follows. The gopis are not like the mystic yogis. They will never be satisfied simply by meditating on your lotus feet and imitating the so-called yogis. Teaching the gopis about meditation is another kind of duplicity. When they are instructed to undergo mystic yoga practice, they are not at all satisfied. On the contrary, they become more and more angry with you. Purport: Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has stated, Kaivalyam nalakayate tridasapur akasha pushpayate durdantendriya kala sarpa patali protkata damstrayate Vishvam Purnam Sukayate Virimahen Dradischakitayate Yat Karunyakataksha Vaivavavatam Tam Gorameva Stuma Yat Karunyakataksha Vaivavavatam Tam Gaurameva Stuma. For a pure devotee who has realized Krishna consciousness through Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, the monistic philosophy by which one becomes one with the Supreme appears hellish. The mystic yoga practice by which the mind is controlled and the senses are subjugated also appears ludicrous to a pure devotee. The devotee's mind and senses are already engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. In this way, the poisonous effects of sensory activities are removed. If one's mind is always engaged in the service of the Lord, there's no possibility that one will think, feel, or act materially. Similarly, the fruit of workers' attempt to attain to the heavenly planets is nothing more than a phantasmagoria for the devotee. After all, the heavenly planets are material, and in due course of time they will all be dissolved. Devotees do not care for such temporary things. They engage in transcendental devotional activities because they desire elevation to the spiritual world, where they can live eternally and peacefully, and with full knowledge of Krishna. In Vrindavan, the gopis, cowherd boys, and even the calves, cows, trees, and water are fully conscious of Krishna. They are never satisfied with anything but Krishna. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, what? Oh, I thought I heard somebody talking. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu continued, the gopis have fallen into the great ocean of separation and are being devoured by the Timangila fish of their ambition to serve you. The gopis are to be delivered from the mouths of these Timangila fish, for they are pure devotees. Since they have no material conception of life, why should they aspire for liberation? The gopis do not want that liberation desired by yogis and jnanis, for they are already liberated from the ocean of material existence. Purport: the bodily conception is created by the desire for material enjoyment. That is called viparasmriti, which is the opposite of real life. The living entity is eternally the servant of Krishna, but when he desires to enjoy the material world, he cannot progress in spiritual life. One can never be happy by advancing materially. This is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Adanta gopir vishatam tamisram punak punash charvita charvananam. Through the uncontrolled senses, one may advance one's hellish condition. He may continue to chew the chewed, that is, repeatedly accept birth and death. The conditioned souls use the duration of life between birth and death only to engage in the same hackneyed activities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. In the lower animal species, we find the same activities. Since these activities are repeated, engaging in them is like chewing that which has already been chewed. If one can give up his ambition to engage in hackneyed material life and take to Krishna consciousness instead, he will be liberated from the stringent laws of material nature. One does not need to make a separate attempt to become liberated. If one simply engages in the service of the Lord, he will be liberated automatically. As Srila Bilvamangal Thakur therefore says, Mukti swaya mukali tanjali sevate sman. Liberation stands before me with folded hands, begging to serve me. Text 143. It is amazing that you have forgotten the land of Vrindavan. And how is it that you have forgotten your father, mother, and friends? How have you forgotten Govardhana Hill, the bank of the Jamuna, and the forest where you enjoyed the Rasa Leela dance? Krishna, you are certainly a refined gentleman with all good qualities. You are well behaved, soft-hearted, and merciful. I know that there is not even a tinge of fault to be found in you. Yet your mind does not even remember the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This is only my misfortune and nothing else. I do not care for my personal unhappiness, but when I see the morose face of Mother Yashoda and the hearts of all the inhabitants of Vrindavan breaking because of you, I wonder whether you want to kill them all, or do you want to enliven them by coming there? Why are you simply keeping them alive in a state of suffering? The inhabitants of Vrindavan do not want you dressed like a prince, nor do they want you to associate with great warriors in a different country. They cannot live in the land, they cannot leave the land of Vrindavan, and without your presence they are all dying. What is their condition to be? My dear Krishna, you are the life and soul of Vrindavan Dham. You are especially the life of Nanda Maharaj. You are the only opulence in the land of Vrindavan, and you are very merciful. Please come and let all the residents of Vrindavan live. Kindly keep your lotus feet again in Vrindavan. Purport. Srimati Radharani did not express her personal unhappiness at being separated from Krishna. She wanted to evoke Krishna's feelings for the condition of all the others in Vrindavan Dham. Mother Yashoda, Maharaj Nanda, the cowherd boys, the gopis, the birds and bees on the banks of the Jamuna, the water of the Jamuna, the trees, the forest, and all the other paraphernalia associated with Krishna before he left Vrindavan for Mathura. These feelings of Srimati Radharani were manifested by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, and therefore he invited Lord Jagannath, Krishna, to return to Vrindavan. This is the purport of the Ratha Yatra cars going from Jagannath Puri to the Gundicha temple. After hearing Srimati Radharani's statements, Lord Krishna's love for the inhabitants of Vrindavan was evoked, and his body and mind became very much perturbed. After hearing of their love for him, he immediately thought himself to be always indebted to the residents of Vrindavan. Then Krishna began to pacify Srimati Radharani as follows. My dearest Srimati Radharani, please hear me. I am speaking the truth. I cry day and night simply upon remembering all you inhabitants of Vrindavan. No one knows how unhappy this makes me. Purport. It is said, Vrindavanam parityajya paramekam nagacchati. In one sense, Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakchit Ananda Vigraha, does not even take one step away from Vrindavan. However, in order to take care of various duties, Krishna had to leave Vrindavan. He had to go to Mathura to kill Kamsa, and then he was taken by his father to Dwarka, where he was busy with state affairs and disturbances created by demons. Krishna was away from Vrindavan, and he was not at all happy. As he plainly disclosed to Srimati Radharani, I'll read that a sentence again in regular English. Krishna was away from Vrindavan, and he was not at all happy, as he plainly disclosed to Srimati Radharani. She is the dearmost life and soul of Sri Krishna, and he expressed his mind to her as follows. Sri Krishna continued, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan Dham, my mother, father, cowherd boyfriends, and everything else, are like my life and soul. And among all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis are my very life and soul. And among the gopis, you, Srimati Radharani, are the chief. Therefore, you are the very life of my life. Purport. Srimati Radharani is the center of all Vrindavan's activities. In Vrindavan, Krishna is the instrument of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan still chant Jai Radhe. From Krishna's own statement given herein, it appears that Radharani is the queen of Vrindavan, and that Krishna is simply her decoration. Krishna is known as Madan Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid, but Srimati Radharani is the enchanter of Krishna. Consequently, Srimati Radharani is called Madan Mohan Mohini, the enchanter of Cupid. My dear Srimati Radharani, I am always subservient to the loving affairs of all of you. I am under your control only. My separation from you and residence in distant places have occurred due to my strong misfortune. When a woman is separated from the man she loves, or a man is separated from his beloved woman, neither of them can live. It is a fact that they live only for each other, for if one dies and the other hears of it, he or she will die also. Such a loving, chaste wife and loving husband desire all welfare for each other in separation and do not care for personal happiness, desiring only each other's well-being, such a pair certainly meet again without delay. You are my most dear, and I know that in my absence you cannot live for a moment. Just to keep you living, I worship Lord Narayan. By his merciful potency, I come to Vrindavan every day to enjoy pastimes with you. I then return to Dwarkadham. Thus you can always feel my presence there in Vrindavan. Our love affair is more powerful because of my good fortune in receiving Narayan's grace. This allows me to come there unseen by others. I hope that very soon I will be visible to everyone. Purport: Krishna has two kinds of presence, prakat and aprakat, manifest and unmanifest. These are identical for the sincere devotee. Even if Krishna is not physically present, the devotee's constant absorption in the affairs of Krishna makes him always present. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 538. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sindanam achintya gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Due to his intense love, the pure devotee always sees Lord Krishna present within his heart. All glories to Govinda, the primeval personality of Godhead. When Krishna is not manifest before the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they are always absorbed in thoughts of him. Therefore, even though at that time Krishna was living in Dwarka, he was simultaneously present before all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This was his aprakat presence. Devotees who are always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna will soon see Krishna face to face without a doubt. In other words, devotees who are always engaged in Krishna consciousness and are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna certainly return home, back to Godhead. They then see Krishna directly, face to face, talk with him, and enjoy his company. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti sorjana. Because during his lifetime a pure devotee is always speaking of Krishna and engaging in his service, as soon as he gives up his body, he immediately returns to Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is personally present. He then meets Krishna directly. This is successful human life. This is the meaning of prakateha anibe satvara. The pure devotee will soon see the personal manifestation of Sri Krishna. 156. I have already killed all the mischievous demons who are enemies of the Yadu dynasty, and have also killed Kamsa and his allies. But there are 2 or 4 demons still living. I want to kill them, and after doing so, I shall very soon return to Vrindavan. Please know this for certain. Purport: just as Krishna does not take a step away from Vrindavan, Krishna's devotee also does not like to leave Vrindavan. However, when he has to tend to Krishna's business, he leaves Vrindavan. After finishing his mission, the pure devotee returns home, back to Vrindavan, back to Godhead. Krishna assured Radharani that after killing the demons outside Vrindavan, he would return. I'm coming back very soon, he promised, as soon as I have killed the few remaining demons. I wish to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the attacks of my enemies. That is why I remain in my kingdom. Otherwise I am indifferent to my royal position. Whatever wives, sons, and wealth I maintain in the kingdom are only for the satisfaction of the Yadus. Your loving qualities always attract me to Vrindavan. Indeed, they will bring me back within 10 or 20 days. And when I return, I shall enjoy both day and night with you and all the damsels of Rajabhumi. While speaking to Srimati Radharani, Krishna became very anxious to return to Vrindavan. He made her listen to a verse which banished all her difficulties and which assured her that she would again attain Krishna. Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amritatvaya kalpate Dishtya yat asin matsneho bhavatina marapanaha. Lord Sri Krishna said, devotional service unto me is the only way to attain me. My dear gopis, whatever love and affection you have attained for me by good fortune is the only reason for my returning to you. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:82-44. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu would sit in his room with Swarup Damodar and taste the topics of these verses day and night. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu danced completely absorbed in ecstatic emotion. While looking at the face of Lord Jagannath, he danced and recited these verses. No one can describe the good fortune of Swarup Damodar Goswami, for he is always absorbed in the service of the Lord with his body, mind, and words. The senses of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were identical with the senses of Swarup. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to become fully absorbed in tasting the singing of Swarup Damodar. In emotional ecstasy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes sit on the ground and looking down would write on the ground with his finger. Fearing that the Lord would injure his finger by writing in this way, Swarup Damodar checked him with his own hand. Swarup Damodar used to sing exactly according to the ecstatic emotion of the Lord. Whenever a particular mellow was being tasted by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Swarup Damodar would personify it by singing. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu looked upon the beautiful lotus-like face and eyes of Jagannath. Lord Jagannath was garlanded, dressed with nice garments, and adorned with beautiful ornaments. His face was glittering from the rays of sunshine, and the entire atmosphere was fragrant. An ocean of transcendental bliss expanded in the heart of Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, and symptoms of madness immediately intensified like a hurricane. The madness of transcendental bliss created waves of various emotions. The emotions appeared like opposing soldiers staging a fight. There was an increase in all the natural emotional symptoms. Thus, there were awakening emotions. Peacefulness, joined, mixed, transcendental, and prevalent emotions, and impetuses for emotion. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's body appeared like a transcendental Himalayan mountain bearing ecstatic emotional flower trees, all of them blooming. The sight of all these symptoms attracted everyone's mind and consciousness. Indeed, the Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. I'll read it again. The sight of all these symptoms attracted everyone's mind and consciousness. Indeed, the Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. He sprinkled the minds of the servants of Lord Jagannath, the government officers, the pilgrim visitors, the general populace, and all the residents of Jagannath Puri. Upon seeing the dancing and ecstatic love of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, everyone became astonished. In their hearts they became infatuated with love of Krishna. Everyone danced and chanted in ecstatic love, and a great noise resounded. Everyone was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss just to see the dancing of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Apart from the others, even Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram, with great happiness, began to move very slowly upon seeing the dancing of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram sometimes stopped the car and happily observed Lord Chaitanya's dancing. Anyone who was able to see them stop and watch the dancing bore witness to their pastimes. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing and wandering in this way, he fell down in front of Maharaj Prataparudra. Maharaj Prataparudra picked the Lord up with great respect, but upon seeing the king, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his external senses. After seeing the king, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu condemned himself, saying, "Oh, how pitiful it is that I have touched a person who is interested in mundane affairs." Not even Lord Nityananda Kashishwar or Govinda took care of Lord Chaitanya when he fell down. Nityananda was in great ecstasy, and Kashishwar and Govinda were elsewhere. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu had already been satisfied by the king's behavior, for the king had accepted the service of a sweeper for Lord Jagannath. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahāprabhu actually desired to see the king. However, just to warn his personal associates, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, externally expressed feelings of anger. When Maharaj Prataparuja asked to see the Lord, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu immediately refused, saying, Niskinchanasya bhagavad bhajano mukasya param param jagamashur bhavasagarasya sandarshanam vishayinam atayoshitam cha ha hanta hanta vishabhakshanatopya sadhu. The word Nishkinchanasya refers to a person who has finished his material activities. Such a person can begin to execute his activities in Krishna consciousness, to cross over the ocean of nescience. It is very dangerous for such a person to have intimate relationships with mundane people, or to become intimately related with women. This formality is to be observed by anyone who is serious about going back home, back to Godhead. To teach his personal associates these principles, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu expressed external anger when touched by the king. Since the Lord was very much satisfied with the humble behavior of the king, he intentionally allowed the king to touch him, but externally he expressed anger just to warn his personal associates. King Prataparuja became frightened when Lord Chaitanya showed external anger, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told the king, "Don't worry. Nakara samshaya." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya informed the king, "The Lord is very satisfied with you." By pointing you out, he was teaching his personal associates how to behave with mundane people. Purport. Although outwardly the king was a mundane man interested in money and women, internally he was purified by devotional activities. He showed this by engaging as a street sweeper to please Lord Jagannath. A person may appear to be a pounds and shillings man interested in money and women, but if he is actually very meek and humble and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is not mundane. Such a judgment can be made only by Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu and his very confidential devotees. As a general principle, however, no devotee should intimately mix with mundane people interested in money and women. Text 188. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, "I shall submit your petition when there is an opportune moment. It will then be easy for you to come and meet the Lord." After circumambulating Jagannath, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu went behind the car and began pushing it with his head. As soon as he pushed, the car immediately started to move, making a rattling noise. The people all around began to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hari Hari! As the car began to move, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu took his personal associates in front of the cars occupied by Lord Balaram and Subhadra, the goddess of fortune. Greatly inspired, he then began to dance in front of them. After finishing the dance before Lord Baladev and Subhadra, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu came before Lord Jagannath's car. Upon seeing Lord Jagannath, he began to dance again. When they reached the place called Balagandi, Lord Jagannath stopped his car and began to look left and right. On the left side, Lord Jagannath saw a neighborhood of brahmanas and a coconut tree grove. On the right side, he saw nice flower gardens resembling those in the holy place, Vrindavan. Purport: Vipra Shashana is a word generally used in the Orissa province to indicate the quarters where brahmanas live. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu and his devotees were dancing in front of the car, and Lord Jagannath, having stopped the car, watched the dancing. It was customary that food be offered to the Lord at Vipra Shashana. Indeed, innumerable dishes of food were offered, and Lord Jagannath tasted each one of them. All kinds of devotees of Lord Jagannath, from neophytes to the most advanced, offered their best cooked food to the Lord. These devotees included the king, his queens, his ministers and friends, and all other big and small residents of Jagannath Puri. All the visitors who had come from different countries to Jagannath Puri, as well as the local devotees, offered their personally cooked food to the Lord. The devotees offered their food everywhere, in front of the car and behind it, on the two sides and within the flower garden. Wherever possible, they made their offering to the Lord, for there were no hard and fast rules. While the Lord was being offered, while the food was being offered, a large crowd of people gathered. At that time, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu stopped his dancing and went to a nearby garden. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu entered the garden and, immersed in great ecstatic emotion, fell flat on a raised platform there. The Lord was very much fatigued from the hard labor of dancing, and there was perspiration all over his body. He therefore enjoyed the fragrant, cool breeze of the garden. All the devotees who had been performing Sankirtan came there and took rest under each and every tree. Thus I have described the great performance of congregational chanting by Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu as he danced in front of Lord Jagannath. In his prayer, known as the Chaitanyashtaka, Srila Rupa Goswami has given a vivid description of the Lord's dancing before the car of Jagannath. Srila Rupa Goswami composed 3 prayers entitled Chaitanyashtaka. The verse next quoted in text 7 is the first of the Chaitanyashtaka prayers, which are included in the book Stava Mala. Amrita, what's the... Ratha Rudha Jad Adi Padavi Nichalapate Adabra Premormi Spurita Natano Lasavibasha Saharsham Gayadbi Parivrita Tanur Vaishnavajan Śrī Caitanya Punarapi Pitrish. What happened? Śrī Caitanya Kimme Punarapi Drishor. Sing it. But it has to be the last line thing. Sa Caitanya Kimme Punarapi Drishur Yes Yati Padam. Yeah?
I think one tune that works is Chaitanya Kimme Punarapi.
That's another way to do the Jagannath Ashtakam too.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There's 2 ways to do it. Is the same meter. We can do that. Ratha. Say it again. No, it's a different. It's the same as we do Nishananda. Charapater Adabra Premormi Spurita Natano Lasa Vibhasha Saharsham Gayadbi Parivrita Tanur Vaishnava Janai Sachaitanya Kimme Punarapi Drishor Yasyathi Padam. Either way. Get the Chaitanya Ashtakam. We need it. Who has it? Sudhira, you got it? Please make it available to everybody. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu danced down the main road in great ecstasy before Lord Jagannath, the master of Nilachala, who is sitting on his car. We'll chant it next time in Ratha Yatra. Add it to the list. Over Hari Hari!
Hari Hari!
Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu danced down the main road in great ecstasy before Lord Jagannath, the master of Nilachala, who is sitting on his car, overwhelmed by the transcendental bliss of dancing and surrounded by Vaishnavas who sang the holy name, he manifested ways of ecstatic love of Godhead. When will Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu again be visible to my vision? Come on, we got to chant that one for Ratha Yatra. Anyone who hears this description of the car festival will attain Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. He will also attain the elevated state by which he will have firm conviction in the devotional service and love of Godhead. I'm going to read it again. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm not convinced that you're ready for it. This is heavy. Get ready. Anyone who hears this description of the car festival will attain Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. He will also attain the elevated state by which he will have firm conviction in devotional service and love of Godhead. Hari Hari! Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. Thus then the Bhaktivedanta purports of the Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita. Madhya Lila, 13th chapter, describing Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic dancing at Lord Jagannath's car festival. Bravo! Bravissimo! Balo, balo! Jai, jai! Sadhu, sadhu! What did I win?
This is the Mukut which Lord Jagannath wears in the Ratha Yatra.
Already the benediction is manifesting. I just got some mukut from Lord Jagannath, from the Ratha Yatra festival. Hare Krishna. Wow, it's beautiful. Jai Jagannath. Jai Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. This is precious. Thank you.